Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Friday, October the 2nd. I'm Eric Wilkinson, and yes, you very well may recognize me from mainstream media where I've talked about the economic data, the geopolitical environment, and how that impacts the overall markets with some of my market analysis. And I do the same thing for you folks out there, but I'm going to go a little bit further and talk about option strategies and how to implement those into our portfolios based on the assumptions we come up with that market analysis. It's not just picking a option strategy out of the hat. What we're doing is looking for guidelines in order to set up the right strategy for your given assumption. So I've laid out some details for you, especially in the roadmap to trading options course. So check that out, please, at protraderstrategies.com. Let me know how you feel about that. Also, hey, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. Give me a comment, what you guys are thinking out there. I'm going to reply to everybody, so throw your comments out there and give us a thumbs up if you're liking this video. It helps us share this with other people. You know, one of the best forms of flattery is sharing this with your friends, because you know, if it's helping you, it's going to help somebody else, and that's what we're all about here. All right, so let's talk about the economic and geopolitical stuff that's going on. One of the things that's blowing everybody's minds today is Trump has COVID. All right, well, then the conspiracy theories come out and say, well, is he trying to get some, is it ill-timed that he's doing this? Is he trying to get sympathy, the sympathy vote and stuff like that? No, listen, people, he's been one of the ones that's been getting bashed for COVID. He's probably the last person that wants to fake a COVID thing. I don't even know that would even fly. But I'm not going to go into all the details of the conspiracy theories. I just think that it's probably that he was hanging around with Hicks on the airplane, and that's how he got it. I mean, it seems pretty obvious. Some people are very surprised that Milena was within 6 feet of him, you know. That's just kind of a joke there. But, yeah, she has it as well, or I believe has it as well. They're testing Biden. Pence, I believe, came up negative. So, anyway. Yeah, let's get on with the economic data, because it wasn't really that great, to be honest. We got core CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, across the pond at 0.2%, expected to be 0.5%. That's for the European region. And the CPI headline number, core CPI, keep in mind, strips out food and energy. The regular CPI, full CPI, whatever you want to call it, flash estimates coming in at negative 0.3, expected to be negative 0.1. Not great economic data point there. Today, the Unemployment Friday number, or non-farm payrolls, Unemployment Friday is what we used to call it, Unemployment Friday, came in with hourly average earnings 0.1%, expected to be 0.5%. Not really surprising there, as we've seen people come back to work. They're going to accept a lower pay grade, most likely, just to get working, I'm believing. So that's why we're seeing that number kind of wane a little bit. Non-farm payrolls coming in at 661,000, expected to be 900,000. They did revise last month's number up by just better than 100,000. That's not making up for that headline miss, which was a bit of a slap in the face, really, for the markets. And then we got the unemployment rate. How it dipped a little bit to 7.9%, expected to be 8.2%. We have Harker speaking. Had Harker speaking actually earlier on today. University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment surprisingly coming in at 80.4, expected to be 78.9, so better than expected there. Now, factory orders, we did see that dip again. That was not good. It came in at 0.7%, expected to be 1.5%. Factory orders, we kind of saw that coming, right? I mean, we saw that with the economic data and the manufacturing, stuff like that, where we were talking about that yesterday, where the forward guidance on new orders was lower. So that was waning on it a little bit. Also, we saw the unemployment number dipping below 50 yesterday in the ISM. So not a huge surprise on this non-farm payroll number, but a bit of a bummer, as a lot of people were hoping for that number to come out better than expected. One thing we can note is that the markets are all over the place. We fell out of bed when it was released that Trump had coronavirus. The markets actually kind of rallied on these non-farm payroll numbers a little bit later in the day as the markets opened. I think that was more in line with that the government is probably going to do some more PPP or some more stimulus for everybody, and that might kind of push this through. Whether or not that gets done, they're still really fighting over the details of that thing, which is a little bit ridiculous, but this might be more of an incentive to get that moving, as companies are going to struggle right now, especially if there's another bout of coronavirus. It's also, probably going to make the Trump thing is probably going to make people want to reconsider opening up economies and stuff like that. So with that being said, let's get on with the overall markets. We've got the bonds coming off a little bit today. A bit surprising. I would expect that they would be making some rallies because the equities are showing some weakness, especially in the tech sector. And then we've got gold futures here. They are coming off a little bit. I would expect them, everything's a bit of a conundrum here. I would expect them to start making a bit more of a move to the upside, with the thought that stimulus package would be more than likely to get pushed through, now that we're seeing a lot of these economic data points not really showing up that great, starting to weaken a little bit. The companies are not really hiring like we would expect, and that's probably because they need some more stimulus there. All right, crude oil is coming off. That's not too surprising, right? As we've seen some of the manufacturing sector numbers, forward guidance not looking that great. I would expect crude oil to start slipping off as lack of demand starts seeping into the markets from there not being as much manufacturing going on. So that's starting to come off. That's not always a terrible thing in my eyes. We already talked about gold holding on to 1900 though, as of right now. VIX up 2 points on the day, and that's like I kind of mentioned this. It's because we're seeing the equities off today, with the Dow Jones off 300 points. It's only down 1%, well off the lows. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Overnight, we saw the markets really start to slide, and then are starting to make a bit of a comeback here late in the day. So let's just take a look at a 30-minute chart here, and you can see overnight with the news about Trump having coronavirus coming into today on the economic data points. Right there, you have it. With the unemployment numbers coming out at 5:30, where is 5:30 on here? Right around in here, 5:30. You can see that's when we touched the lows and started rebounding. I think that's because people were like, okay, this number is bad, and that means that we're going to get money, and that means that we need to buy. So seeing that bit of a push to the upside. Maybe some profit taking going on. I don't think there's any extra news coming out right now to really drive this market. Now, the NASDAQ, obviously, with it down 331 points right now, it's almost down 3%, near its lows. It's not making the rebound like we're seeing over there in the Dow Jones and the E-mini S&Ps. Really suffering here. Bit of a conundrum on that one, right? Because if the thought process is that we're going to be shut down for a little bit longer, maybe these tech sectors, the stay-at-home trade, should be making some moves here, and not really happening. We're even seeing Google suffer, Google, Amazon, across the board, starting to falter a little bit on this NASDAQ side. Is it a sector rotation heading into another earnings? It could be putting money into a little bit safer, or stocks that are underperforming here, so we'll keep an eye on that going forward. A lot of uhs, sorry about that. Trying to get my thought process there. I'm gonna have to start watching that. Negative 33 points on the day with the E-mini S&Ps off 1 percentage point, but again, you can see came down and tested the 9-day simple moving average, got a nice little bounce off that, so about a half back on that trade so far. Again, here's a breakdown of the stock market with the E-mini S&Ps, and we are talking about overnight really getting slammed, and into today off of the economic data points, made that low, but then started making a move to try and retrace the overnight sell-off. Right now, bit profit. I'm going to call this a profit-taking candle here, and trying to find a little bit of support here. Are we going to see some strength into the end of the day? I really don't know. I think today is a bit of a toss-up for you guys. So I'm not going to add anything to my portfolio, and I obviously haven't taken anything off with the markets coming off a little bit today. It's working against me really, especially with the Google being a bit of a retracer. We'll just talk about Google here since I've got a thought on it. You can see here Google off by about 29 points. It was down 35 earlier today, but trying to make a bit of a bottom right here on this 9-day simple moving average. Would like to see it hold that, as I have sold some puts in there at the 1400 level, not too far below here, putting it below the 200-day moving average. So I'm not too concerned about getting long Google 59 points lower than this, but that could happen rather quickly with that weakness over there in the NASDAQ, pushing this market a little bit lower. So like I said, I haven't done anything today, kind of holding on to all my positions at this point in time, looking for some more clarity of what's going on in these markets before I start making some moves. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys can check out the webinar that I've been doing on, like I said, the roadmap to trading options. Please also take a moment to go over this video, or sorry, this disclaimer, and like us on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you guys are enjoying this. Also, you can comment. I'll respond. Keep it open forum there. So if you can't take that, take it easy.